it's Guido coming at you with a review of the Jagdtiger prototype, although it says Jagdtiger H, I believe, in the files. This is a Tier 8 Jagdtiger. Now we have an 8.8. We're going to take a look at a comparison with that. I'm also going to compare it to the Tier 9 Jagdtiger, just so you can kind of see what has been nerfed to bring it from Tier 9 to Tier 8. And I think there's some interesting things going on right there, to be honest with you. Well, let's just let the cat out of the bag here. It still has the Tier 9 armor, fellas. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Also, and in addition to, I am retiring on top with this tank. I played exactly one game and got an ace in it. So now I'm retiring on top. I'm going to pretend that every game is that good. All right. So I think with a sample size of 1, if you extrapolate that out, that in the next 100 battles, I should more or less have those same statistics, right? Okay, that's how it works. Anyway, Jagdtiger prototype is available in the Waffentrager event. It is a Tier 8 premium assault tank destroyer, and I think it does that job pretty good. Now it's hard to be too mad at a tank when you just got an ace. All right, let's just dial it back a little bit because it was only 1,000 something experience, so that's going to change. But still, there's the ace badge. All right, I'm retiring on top. Commander, gunner, driver, radio operator, 2 loaders. Okay, so we've got 6 fellers in here. Good news is that it doesn't look like any of them have secondary jobs, which is nice. Very nice, actually. Especially if the crew change thing starts to happen more or less like they said it was going to in terms of the setup. Crews like this are going to benefit because they're not doubled up with skills. In fact, you've got 2 loaders right here who can take some other skill. I don't know. It's just better. All right? It's just better. The other good news with this tank, unlike the T3 Jaeger, the Tier 9 premium, that's also a German tank that's involved with this particular event, is the crew is the same setup as your other JT versions. So if you got the premium JT88, it will work in there. If you've got the Tier 9 JT, it will work in there. Fantastic. All right, so 6 crew. This is the prototype. I'm not even going to worry about the overview. Well, let's see what it says. Okay, we've got credits, we get combat experience, and we get free crew transfer. Okay, that'll work. Standard premium. One of the first 2 prototypes developed using Heinkel chassis, and unlike the vehicle using the Porsche chassis, was designed prototype number 2. Well, there you go. It's a different chassis. It looks like a Jagdtiger. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Let's take a look at the comparison here, guys. See, what do we have? What do we have? We have a Tier 9 down-tiered to a Tier 8. In general, tanks that wargaming down tiers do pretty well because very often they don't lose things like armor and some of the things that make the other one good. I'm not saying the Jagdtiger is great, and it used to be an absolute monster in the game, but power creep has hurt it. But let's bring a Tier 9 down to Tier 8, mess around with the gun a little bit, leave the armor, and there you have it, as well as the extra credits, experience, etc. What do we have then? That gives us a 490 alpha. We're also going to compare it to the 8.8, which exists in the game as well, but has the little pew-pew gun, 240. I believe the penetration is 311 with the gold or something like that. We'll take a look at it when I show you the game, where if I didn't tell you already, I got an ace on the first one. And we'll continue to probably get aces every game past that. 276 penetration on the Jagdtiger, but more alpha. So there's your down tier action going on right there. Rate of fire is fairly low. Hard to compare because you're talking a 240 pew pew with a reload of where is it? Where's my reload? There we go, 4.89 seconds. So remember that little 8.8 just reloads really quickly with some pretty decent penetration. But you're getting 246 out of the big gun here. Let's slide down here because what does that give us at the end of the day with the prototype 2,359 DPM and 2,945 with the pew pew. But remember, you've got a pen and hit and all that good stuff. And then of course a Tier 9 is going to have considerably more, so 700 more with the, and that's generally accounting for a lot more alpha, it looks like, as opposed to it doesn't. Let's see, yeah, it reloads a little faster as well and has more alpha. So there you go. These numbers are all the same, right? It's the same depression, elevation, same gun traverse, 10 to each side for all 3 of these guys. The aiming time on the prototype is the same as the Jagdtiger at tier 8, which is nice. A little bit worse dispersion, so there's kind of one of the nerfs they're going to do to bring it down to tier 8, but 0.34 is actually not bad. In fact, if you consider it's a 490 alpha gun, okay, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good at tier 8 for a 490 alpha gun with decent DPM. Okay, hard hitting, fairly accurate gun, okay on the aiming time. I think we got something going on here. 1600 hit points. This is one they wicker with quite a bit and doesn't have a whole lot of connection to historical accuracy. I know they try to figure out durability and all that kind of stuff, but really this is just more or less tied to tier. So they've dropped some hit points off of the tier 8. And then check this out. So I talked about earlier, armor, man, it's the same armor. And at tier 9, it's a little tough for the Jagdtiger these days. I mean, it gets buttered by a lot of stuff, especially even some of the higher penetration tier 8 stuff doesn't have a whole lot of trouble with it. They all have the problem of the large lower plate. That's still a thing, but when you start talking about 250 whole armor and 80 on the sides at tier 8, now it looks a lot better than it does at tier 9. So pretty significantly decent. I'm not telling you it's amazing, but not bad. Not bad for a tier 8. Mobility, these things are never really fast, and it sits at 38. It's the same for all of them right here. Specific power is a little bit less. I guess it's maybe heavier somehow. Yeah, it's heavier than the 8.8 based on the gun, probably. So it's got a worse, probably got a worse, whatever it is, the wheels thing. You know what I'm saying? The wheels thing, right? The traction or whatever it's called. Anywho, traverse speeds lower than the other two, so it is a little sluggish in the whole turn department. Camo is not great. These are great big old tanks. All three of them are not great. They all have the same camo at 10.66 and moving at 6. It does lose out 370 on the view range, whereas the 8.8 has 390 and the Jagdtiger has 390, so a little bit tougher for it in the view range. So what do you have from a tier 9 down to a tier 8? You're going to lose some gun handling, you're going to lose some DPM, some hit points, going to have a little bit less view range, a little less accurate but not bad overall, especially between the 9 and the 8. So a pretty solid, to be quite honest, guys, a pretty solid assault TD if that is your thing. And I dare say that provided you can find a place to not be seen, as a sniper, it's solid as well. And I'll tell you what, this thing beating up 6s, ouch. Now, you can say that about most 8s, but this one in particular, there's a couple of them out there. BZ-176, Skoda T-56, maybe this thing as well, and some others that are going to absolutely eat tier 6s alive, even tier 7. So pretty fantastic, actually. For an assault TD, it's limited, right? It's a casemate. It's not very mobile, right? Relatively low DPM, but hits hard, has some pretty good armor, and in the role of assault TD and easily swings to sniper based on its decent gun handling. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, let's take a look at how I've got mine set up, or how I had mine set up. Okay, using the tool in here, I set it up the way I had for the game. We've got the tier 3 mobility improvement system on it, which gives a bunch of other bonuses to dispersion while movement and forward speed and traverse and all that good stuff. I had a rammer, of course, and vents. Had all the skills because it's a 9-skill crew. So what did that do for us over here? Cranked up our rate of fire to 6.16, gun loading down under 10 seconds. Traverse speeds improved a little bit. Got an aiming time under 2 seconds, just 0.01, and a 0.3 dispersion, which is pretty nice for that gun. Up to a 3,000 average DPM, really nice right there. We've got a speed of 43 forward and 15 backwards, so that's very nice. Much better than the 38 right there. And it brings the camo up to a, I don't even know if we'd call it a respectable, but it increases it to 21.42 stationary and 12 while moving. View range does not quite get to maximum at 434, but the assault big casemate TDs are not really known for their view range action, but it's close. It's almost there. Almost there. So definite try hard mode, and I forgot to actually load premium on this in this battle, so all my shots will be without premium rounds. So let's go take a look at this game that we can then extrapolate forward to 100 games for 100 aces. Yeah, that is what would happen. All right, well, the match is here on El Haluf Dorf. We've spawned into the south on a standard battle. I'm going to go up to the brawling area, which I recommend if you're going to use an assault TD, that's where you would go on this map by sitting back and sniping. If sniping is your thing, it's still probably accurate enough, or it's definitely accurate enough to do that. And by that I mean sitting over here on the ridge or something. But this tank has enough firepower, enough armor that I wanted to go test the whole assault TD thing. So we'll go up to the heavy brawling zone and we'll bring the big gun into that zone and see what we can do with the old Jagdtiger prototype. The pen on the APCR is 311. Shell velocity 1,150. The standard shell is 920, which is in the good zone. I say anything around 1,000 is good. Above that is beautiful. Much below that, getting to the 800, 700, now you're starting to shoot softballs, and it's much more difficult to shoot things at range, especially with any left to right line of sight with lead fire can become very difficult. But that's not bad. We got 900, almost 1,000, and one of our scorpions dies immediately. Fantastic, good job right there. And I'll move up. So I'm going to come up to this corner, and I want to use this little hold down-ish spot. There isn't arty I have to worry about. Want to expose as little as possible of my lower plate. So let's just take a quick look. Remember, guys, you're talking a JT, so great big flat lower plate. This game I did not, I don't believe, have my gun, or not my gun, but my engine destroyed, but that is a problem with the German tanks. They've got the transmission engine up front, and they tend to take those shots. Now here's, I'm trying to fight the whole thing. There we go. Look at that. Nice, fast zoom in. Whack. And we slapped that guy for 558. Actually, that's a nice high roll right there. I'll take that. That hurt. Bounced it. Look at that. So there you go. Shoots the gold AP at me. And he's not interested in that anymore, is he? That's the nice thing about the high alpha guns and decent armor, right? I come to this corner and I sit here and I lock it down, and nobody wants to come around the corner anymore and start messing with the big bad JT, who is decently positioned, giving very difficult shots to the lower plate, if any. And now we'll just move forward. Check out my team. Now this is a danger zone, guys. You got to kind of watch on this particular map. Pushing in early to try to take these guys out. A lot of teams lose this way because they keep poking up and over. There's snipers back here, say where the Indian Panzer is, start tearing guys up. Maybe hold down tanks like the T-832, start whittling you away. But I'm looking at how many tanks we have here and how many I have seen of them, and of course their configuration. I don't see many really heavy tanks here. The T-832 is certainly a heavy tank, especially its turret. The Skoda can be problematic with its double shot stuff, but really the rest of it, they're not very tough right here. So we'll come in here. I actually eat a shot, I think, from this 832. Trying to get the gun online. Me and the BZ are getting a little clunked up right there. Thank goodness the already misses. So the 832 got a shot there. Can we find out where he hit me? Did he go through the side? It's hard to tell. Doesn't. Oh, he got the lower plate. Look at that. Even from above. Even from above. He shoots into the lower plate with even more angles than. Now I'm going to miss this. I get a little trouble getting the gun online. That's unfortunate. And we're going to push around here and keep these guys from getting in behind and hope that our fellas here can take out or at least keep them busy. If we can put pressure on the ones around here, then we can start to fold around them. The BZ lets me get by. I'm just going to poke out. I'm going to eat a shot from this guy, but I slap him back this time for a 431. So wow, look at that mega high roll and mega low roll. You got to love that right there. BZ is just waiting for the Scorpion to do something stupid like that, and he does. Because the Suma's backing out, I feel like he's probably... I should have actually gone forward, I think. No, I'm glad I didn't go forward. I would have got hit directly. Because the Suma's backing out like that, and it doesn't look like he's interested in trying to keep us from pushing, I think he's out of shots. Now, I make a bit of a mistake here, and this was really interesting in messing around with the gun. I think there's a setting in there regarding what happens when your gun meets the full deflection on the TDs. I need to go look at that because this felt like when I'm running this press account that it operated differently. Like the gun, I think it's where the gun, if you hit the stop, it will then start shifting your hole. This isn't doing it, and I had to do it with my WASD key, so I need to go figure out that setting because it was confusing me. Like this right here, right? So I've zoomed in, but my turret, my hole's not moving, and then I had to use my finners, and then I missed. Oh no, I didn't. I thought I missed. I didn't miss. 498 that time. There we go. Suma gets a shot on me, and I'm thinking this is the end. I've used my kit already. But check out the VZ, the BZ. The BZ comes in there. The guy shoots. I get hit by the Indian and the Suma, which takes me down to 99. And I'm thinking, well, this is it. The Suma's going to kill me. And then he bounces, and the BZ nukes him, and I get repaired just in time to pull back from the Indian Panzer's last shot. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is this already going to hit me? Okay, no. Very good. 1,952, 240 assist. The Rompel, this is where you're just starting to sense the Rompel, right? If you looked at it, you go, well, it's 7-4. We're only up 112 hit points. That's probably not really true. But if you look at their setup and our setup, in terms of tanks left, they got some TDs, a couple mediums, and a couple lights. We got some of our heavies left and some of our TDs. This is looking like a really good situation. So I just decided to maybe take a poke at the 40-43. Now, what's interesting is on the card, the 40-43 shows up, but there's nothing on the markers on what I did to it. So let's find out. Did I hit it and bounce? I think I might have hit it, and it's going to die here in a second. Okay, so there it is. It's right there. I may have hit that thing and bounced off of it up in that bush, because he dies here pretty quickly. Yep. So I think that's what it is. I don't know if it actually shows you if you bounce off of something. I think it just shows the tank. So unfortunately, I hit his gun or something would be my guess, or maybe it's tracks. Now here's that accuracy, man. Check this out. Plus it's a nice, big, healthy alpha. Pretty good module damage. We thump him and light him on fire. That's fantastic. That's going to give us a bunch of hit points right there. It cranks us up to 2,800 just like that, and we'll just sniper shot on the Indian Panzer. Very nice. We're up to 3,200, going from a pretty good 1,900 decent game up to a fantastic. Did I mention it's an ace? I don't know if I did, but I just did again. Rompel, full on Rompel. And I'm not thinking I'm going to get another shot, but then pretty quickly I see the Scorpion, and I see him doing a runner, and I'm like, oh, he's going to what? Hold on a minute. Zoom in. There we go. Oh, just at the back edge. Not enough lead fire, really, to be honest, but with the velocity of that shell, just catches his back end there. Maybe just a little dispersion English helping me to carve it in there and get that last damage for 3,648. And the enemy just launches himself off of the 240 assist in there, and I only bounced one shot. Took a bunch of shots. You know, this tank, you take shots on the side. Where are those? Hard to see. They're probably all, let's see, which way was I pointing at them? I think I was pointing at them with the right front. It's hard to see where the holes are. There's another one. Oh, there's one right there. Okay, well, I guess he just shot my upper plate. There you have it. Look down. One more shot in the lower plate, and I think there was probably one on my side, maybe over here from the... Oh, there we go. No, those are not. Hard to see. Anywho, let's wrap this up. This was an ace, by the way, just letting you know that. Well, there you have it, folks. I sort of looked into the shots that I had on that. I took 11 shots. I hit 8. I had 7 pens. There was the bounce, so that's accounted for. The one bounce is accounted for by the T832. I missed the Scorpion, and probably those 2 blind shots missed, I guess. I don't know if it counts a miss as going into tracks. I don't, or maybe it misses that it doesn't see on blind shots. I don't know how it actually counts those. So maybe I didn't hit. You saw the card. It showed the M4043 was on the list of vehicles that I interacted with in some way, and I'm still not sure what exactly happened right there. But so the Jagdtiger prototype, Tier 8 Premium German TD, and I would say this is a pretty good assault TD. It might be the Tier 8 assault TD you wish the 8.8 was. The 8.8 can be quite fun. There's no fear factor to it, right? If you can get into a situation where pew pew is a great place to be, like perma tracking or something like that. then it's pretty good. But this thing has a nice 490 alpha gun, so it's going to thump people hard, and it's got some armor you have to deal with. It's not invulnerable in something. I was going to say impenetrable. It's neither one of those. But at tier 8 it's pretty decent, and when you start talking about tier 7s and tier 6s, you got something going on right here. Plus it makes more credits. It's a premium. It's a full up premium. So I think if you get a hold of one of these things in the engineer starters or whatever they're called for the event, yeah, you're not going to hate this thing. Unless you don't like slow casemates, in which case it doesn't really matter how good the casemate is. You're not going to like it. All right, for you Assault TD aficionados, I don't know, lovers of casemate TDs. That can also swing to a sniper. Another probably pretty good one in the event. That's all I've got. Let me know what you think of the Jagdtiger PR, the prototype. You're going to go for this thing? That's all I've got. We will see ya.